right, everything polished and laid out. At least all this stuff. I still have all the mechs to do. In fact, let me show you real quick. Let me move these two things because those both need to be painted. I'm gonna paint these later. But all the mechs, you gotta break them all down, clean them up, throw them through the tumbler or whatever, and then put them back together. All right, let's clean these up. Get the new coil wraps on them.
These things, it comes right out of your paycheck. I already owe them for that stupid soda machine.
They made my nails look like crap and I just went down.
All right, I'm gonna go over putting this pop bumper together. Everything's polished and cleaned and all ready to go. I got a brand new sleeve and the coil's all cleaned up. Everything's ready to go. So let me show you how we do it. There's one I've already got together here. It's gonna, so let's see if I can get this one to match that one. So I'll let y'all watch me do it. All right, here we go. We're gonna get started. First thing I'm gonna do is take this, put the sleeve on it. The sleeve, this part right here, goes right here to this part. Now, I've already checked my alignment. They're gonna go this way. However, you can put them, it's not easy, but you can fit them in that way if you want to, or the other way. And notice the coil sleeve sits up out of it. That's what you want. While that sits there, we're gonna take this. And we know this is gonna go on here like so and fit on over that right there. So that's gonna go like that. Inside of here, we're gonna have that, 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 and that. And then we want all of this to go in that hole. There we go. Like that. I'll take this. Right here. Put that together here. Now be sure and hold this little clamp right here down, this part down while you tighten it up. There you go. That's simple. Pop bumper. All right, next round of mechs. We're gonna take and break these down, clean them all up. And actually probably this trough is probably the dirtiest ones. And we'll get them all shiny just like all those other ones I just did, the pop bumpers, etc. So let's keep rocking this day out. All right, there's a quick look with two more done. Man, it's all cleaned up real nice. I like how they everything cleaned up real good. You know, it's all nice and shiny and all that kind of good stuff. And if you want to really nickel plate them or get crazy, you can. But I think that looks really nice under there. It's going to make it look like new, especially with the new Playfield. So, yay. All right, it is Saturday at 8:50 on February 7th. Let's see where I left off. We got upper Playfield, just needs to be wiped down, a little metal polish, and it's done. Here's my bushings for my one that needed a new bushing. Here's some flipper bats. I'll probably put a new bushing on the other one too. Oh no, the other one is a new flipper. Never mind, it already has a new bushing. Here's the pop bumpers. Here's going to go in the caps. You actually put a drop of super glue and glue those into the caps, so I'll do that when I'm ready to put those finally in. Here is all the mechs, all put together, shiny, polished, functional, new sleeves, new coil wraps. Here's all the metal guides, pop bumper, rings, etc., all polished up. All right, like I said, assembly starting. I put all the T-nuts on the back by basically laying it down and hammering it. I think I already talked about that, but I want to show y'all something. This is noteworthy. The next thing you do, a lot of times you want to put on these rails next. I think it's nice because when you flip this over, the Playfield doesn't have to rest on anything anymore, so it protects it from scratches a lot when you flipped over. However, I want you to notice, you come over here, look at this T-nut. Notice how the T-nut has a hole there, obviously for it to countersink into. Let's go to this one over here. See if I can kind of try to show it. Let's see if I can zoom in a little that way. This thing is sitting way above the plane here. Now, if you're using they're doing a Playfield that's an old Playfield, and you're just putting stuff back on, no problem probably. But these new Playfields, a lot of times, they haven't made this countersink deep enough. And so you try to go screw this T-nut in from the opposite side to get it to sink down into that hole. And guess what? It won't do it. It still hangs up. And then when you lay the rails across, the rail ends up being hung up. Now let me get the tripod and I'll show y'all what I mean. Let me get this out of the way. Because if you ever do a Playfield swap, or you're doing something like this, watch out. These little T-nuts areas are sneaky, and you'll start building stuff and putting it together. And then all of a sudden, when you get to the underside and you need that T-nut and it's not there, you have to tear things down to get it back in. So you got to be careful about that. Okay, you can see what I've done is I take the screws and go ahead and put them in. And I know you can't really see it, but they're about to the edge of where they need to be before they would start entering this wood. Now, here's the piece of wood that goes here on this. What I'm going to do is kind of get it in place. But what I want to show is, let me kind of get this here. And I may have to just lift this up to show it like this, but can you see that? See how that T-nut is keeping this from going all the way down? And I'm going to tell you right now, I already tried to screw that T-nut in down where it would sink into that wood enough, and it won't. And I've already tried, like a dummy, I tried screwing these all in tight thinking maybe it would push it down enough, and it won't either. So let me show you how you fix that, because that's what I had to do on the other side. So let me get you all set up again, and I will show you. But it's actually real easy to do. It's just when you got a $1,000 Playfield, you get nervous about doing these kind of things. But let me see if I can set this up in such a way so you can see it here. There we go. I'm gonna set you up right there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull that nut out. I'm gonna pull that T-nut out because I already tried to sink it in there and it's just not gonna go in enough. And so I'm gonna get it out of the way. Hopefully gently here. I still don't want to mess up any of the art or the clear. So we're gonna kind of be gentle. There we go. Now, see how good you can see that. Okay. See, even from this angle and even farther away, you can see this is shallow. So it needs to be deeper so that counter sinks in and makes that where that rail doesn't have any tension on it. So we got to use a Forester bit. Let me show you here. This is a Forester bit here. Okay. Now I've got a whole box of them over here. The whole box at Harbor Freight was like $20-30. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in here and just basically see if you can tell. Yeah, it's a little deeper, but it's not deep enough. I'm gonna go in here and luckily there's a lot of wood to give, so I am gonna take it down. I want to be a little careful. I don't need to go too deep and get crazy, but even that right there. Now I put this in here, and now it's almost flat. So now let me try and just check it real quick. You have to trust me. Just about there. I'm gonna go just a hair more. And we should have it, even though once it ties in, it should sink the rest of the way. But let me go ahead and give it just a hair more. Okay. I don't know how much camera can see all this. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we can put this down in here. Yeah, and it's just about clear by the time I give this just a couple little nice taps of the hammer. Nothing crazy. We don't want to hit the clear coat and screw anything up. Just a... Now I'm going to tot that up, and then we'll try that in. Let me a second, and we'll take a look at it. All right, so I got that tapped in. Back this out. Let's take a look, and you can see now. I just try hard to kind of get it to film it, but can you see now? Now it's countersunk in there, so now I can put that on there, and it won't be a problem. So let me put that rail on, and we'll take a look. All right, let's show this from each side. I've got this rail on. Here's where the T-nut's going to be used later for the. I believe this T-nut's used for the railing the locking mechanism for the Playfield into the cabinet. Let's look here. See, nice and flat now. Let's come around to this side now. Look, and see how it's trapped into there now, but now it's countersunk flush. So that's going to work perfect now. And that one over there is as well. So now we're in business. So now that we're past that, we move on to the next steps. All right, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I did get a ball guide on, and I got the 2 rails on, T-nuts on. Everything's good there. So what do you do at lunch? Well, I work on harnesses, lay them out, clean them up. Also watch a little pinball shenanigans while I'm doing it after I've eaten my lunch. And so that's what's next. I gotta clean this switch harness up because it's fixing to go on tonight. All right, end of work day. There's the switch harness. I basically cleaned a section by hand and then wrapped it up, and then cleaned a section, wrapped it up all the way till I got the whole thing. All right, here I am back in the evening time now. Oh, goodness. So, first things, T-nuts. On the back side, I did all the T-nuts. And then, of course, on here, I like to personally, I know HEP places them all. I like to go and just place ones that I know are critical as I need them. And then I'll build them up. Mainly because I find they tend to fall out a lot. I have a hard time getting them super tight until I'm doing them for real. So, that's why I kind of just wait myself personally. But it doesn't matter either way. But T-nuts are going on as they need to. Then we put the rails. Then we start putting our ball guides. We also got wire guides we need to put on next, and they're in the box right over there. And I need to put on the pop bumper screws here for the mechanisms. And so I'm putting those in. And those are usually tight. You can see the clear going into them. So I'm going to be careful not to buckle the clear or do anything to it. So I'm placing those carefully, including... There we go. I've got those almost in there, but they're. When I screw it in from the opposite side, it's gonna pull those screws down slowly. I'm gonna do it that way. I hammered a little bit to here. HEP hammers them all the way in. I'm just not that brave, so I'm gonna hammer them just to there, and then it's just debris, and then I'll do it. But I'm gonna go here first. I'm gonna take out some of this clear right around here, and I'll show you how we do it. Take this drill, and I learned this again from HEP. Most of my stuff I actually learned from him because I've watched him the most and the longest when it comes to restorations. Even though I highly suggest Pinball Shenanigans, I love his channel. I've learned a lot of stuff from there, but to be honest, his has a lot of good entertainment stuff, seeing him and his buddies do pinball things like me and my buddies do, so it's kind of funny, like an extension. But anyway, here we go, put it in here. Now I've got it going reverse. I've got it going backwards, okay? Not forward. Going backward. I'm gonna kind of roll it around a little bit. I'm doing gentle. I'm not putting hard pressure on there, okay? Just gentle pressure. There we go. And the idea behind that is that kind of clears out ironically, some of the clear right there. Because if I go forward first, and I've actually done this before years ago before I saw how to do it, is if you go forward right away, sometimes instead of, if the burr isn't super sharp, if this drill bit isn't super sharp, it'll go through there, and then instead of being, if it's dull, it'll grab the clear and actually lift the clear off of the wood. So you want to make that first, kind of get rid of this opening of the clear. There we go, right around here. And then now I'll go forward. I'll put on the forward, and now I can do that. And I've cleaned that out where now I can put this in here, and I'll just show you. Let me grab one because I'm gonna do the rest off camera. Because again, I don't want to bore y'all watching I make you watch every step, or like this, there's 9 of these, so you don't want to repeat them. So see, that's tight. It's already tight on the rest of it, but now I can take, and I can kind of just kind of tap it into there, and then I'll let my screws, when I tighten up that mech, it'll pull that down into the wood better and get that clear, okay? As you can see, let me show you here. They're up just a little bit, but that'll go down once I screw those in. All right, I'm gonna show you on this one. I've already done the other ones. I've got these 3 left to do, so I'm gonna show you how I do it. What I do is I put the mechanism here. I'm gonna take and put a washer on there just to give it a little extra protection. And I'm gonna put a lock washer on here. A lock nut. These are the ones that go on there. I think they're 5/16. Let me see if I can confirm that in a second. 5/16, yep. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screw this in, but as I do, I'm gonna put my hand underneath and I'm gonna feel the bolt head going in. So I'm gonna show you from up here, and then I'm gonna turn it around. I'll do it from the other side to show you. So right now my finger is on the bolt head, and I can feel the space between it and the Playfield. And as I start going, I can feel it slowly getting drawn into the Playfield. And when it gets almost flat, I stop. And then I do the rest by hand because I don't want to break. I don't want to mess up the clear coat. So I'm going to go and just give it just a little turn until I feel it pretty flat and pretty countersunk. Don't try to sink it deeper in or you're just going to end up making problems. Just get it to where it's nice and even. I promise. That's enough. Look at that. One bolt holds that pretty strongly, so it'll be just fine. Now I'm going to take this back off, reverse it here. Okay. And now I've got that bolt, that pop bumper bolt sunk in. So now let me get this set up, and then I'm going to show you from the other side as I do it. Be a little tricky, but I think we can do it. So first, let me kind of get it set up where this is at least on there, and then I'll show you. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Now, let me see if I can put this up here. Manipulate the camera so you can see it. Let's see. Okay. Let's try it here. Let me see if this will show it. Watch this one right here. I'll try to go slow. And see, now I want to stop short where I can still feel it's up a little bit. Then I'm going to do the last little turn or two by hand. And it won't take much, just a little half turn maybe. Just kind of can feel it with my finger as it's going. Kind of rub across there. Maybe just a hair or more. But again, you don't have to sink them deep. This thing ain't going nowhere. Yep, there we go. That's good enough for me. That'll stay out of the way. And there you go. And then, like I say, I just undo it and we're back in business. All right, looks like I'm calling it a night. Didn't get a ton accomplished, but I did get, got those on there. And all those lane guides and such, and got a couple little posts in. So, and of course, Got that rail and that one there. So, like I say, progress.